Joe Biden seemed destined for a rematch. But if you were to ask most Americans, they'd rather see a 2020 rematch of Joe Exotic and Carol.
Hi guys, welcome back to my run. We passed, I guess, beginning tutorial of it, so that's always good. So just starting out, I guess.
Politics fun. We got a presidential election coming up. We need a talent show, karaoke. What do we do?
We just need to tell the truth.
We need to tell the truth. Look at me. Do I look like I know the truth? If people were being honest with me, they wouldn't have let me out of the house in this outfit. Very good point. How do we make people have a good time?
Well, you're not going to make them laugh.
This guy wants balloons. So you're like a helium balloon guy. This guy is trying to score weapons in Times Square. Bicycle race.
Bicycle race.
He says a bicycle race. All right, you're in charge of picking up Biden. Let's go. Good luck, brother.
I think what would be so much fun is if everybody actually knows what we're voting for. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah, now you need to read books and stuff. I don't like your idea at all. I was hoping for like a game of beer pong. Now I got homework.
One more part.
Okay. One more part.
Besides,
You are trespassing on Majesty's metals and manufacturing
The keg
property.
party. The keg party in America means you get a keg of beer and you drink it near the fun part.
Cease your
Would you
advance
vote for the keg
immediately,
party?
or you
I
will
am
be
choosing
fired
one
upon.
way or the other. You heard it here first. What do they do with elections in Senegal? Yeah.
Armor and internal structure.
Wrestling.
Okay.
wrestling, why not?
So you want a presidential wrestling match?
Yeah, President Biden. And why not President Trump?
But Biden would lose to his own shadow.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think he's tough, but I think Trump is out of shape too. Yeah, I don't look at, but Trump was in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
In WrestleMania with like a hit dude.
Okay.
You know what? Trump is the more crazy one.
He's the craziest dude, right?
Anyway, we love him.
What do you gotta do for fun in Jersey? We're on TV, so don't do the regular stuff. What else do you do?
I don't know. Going to the beach, going to the mall.
Joe Biden, very good at going to the beach.
Cat angle.
On the water. They're both good at that. So far, so good. Do they then have a surfing contest?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe like who can build the best sandcastle?
Sandcastle contest.
That might be an advantage for Trump because he's a developer. How do we make politics fun?
Why not make expensive business?
Thank you, very well said.
Trump juggling.
Listen, he's juggling 91 indictments right now. He might be able to do it. So funny. I'm warming up to the wrestling, but I say we do make it Jello wrestling. That's hot. So can the 2024 election actually be a fun one, or are we doomed to a Groundhog's Day rerun of 2020? The panel is back. Aaron Berg, Tudor Dixon, Charles McBee in the house. Good to see you guys. Yo, my heart is in the right place here, is it not? Because I'm trying to make this doable. You know, the country
Generator.
It's not the most divided we've ever been. In the 1700s, they shot each other. And as you know, the winner lived and the loser voted Democrat. It's you want to go back to duels? Tudor Dixon, you just made every liberal media website in America. Tudor Dixon, let's shoot people. These right-wing dirtbags.
What do you think, like, if, okay, we did wrestling, like, wrestling for girls, people would totally think that was fun. If I were mud wrestling Gretchen Whitmer, totally, people would watch.
There's got a filter lock on that. Gretchen, come on out.
I just pull her potato spot right out of the mud and then wrestle her.
Yeah, that's the question. Who wins if you wrestle Gretchen Whitmer in mud wrestling?
I win.
You damn well, you know, you're wrong. You know who wins?
Potato.
The American people win. Gretchen, if you're watching, we got Aaron Berg.
Organize this, please.
Yes.
I think we totally mean it up, right? We'll make it as offensive
Okay.
as Trump goes down, orange jumpsuit, starts yelling. On the cop going, come again, and then Nikki Haley slaps and yells, somebody turns and dissipates it. And it all happens at Eagle Pass. I think that's how we do it.
Eagle Pass, Texas.
Oh, there's no other Eagle
We
Pass.
certainly have a crowd. We certainly have a crowd.
Razor wire for everybody. Vivek starts using the razors.
Don't need to tell me twice.
That's too far.
What do you? The only issue with this is if you followed Vivek, he's going to be rooting for different candidates at different times during the fight. It's not a Democratic side.
Too smart to be a politician. Did say white supremacy does not exist. He doesn't get to say that. I say that when I'm sleeping in our walls.
Warning. Enemy sensor lock.
Can you follow politics in this day and age, or do you tune it out?
No, I'm tuning it out. I'm tuning it out this entire time. I'm tuning it out right now.
You, the rest of America. Yeah, congratulations on that.
I feel like if they want to...
He's for the mud wrestling. See, he would not.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
already suggested it. Just go behind the bar. We already said it.
Oh, he's like, man, Donald's up here. All right, so let me ask you this. Since everybody's passionate about fighting, do you believe, Tudor Dixon, that was a corn pop. And was he a bad dude? You remember the Bible story where he said corn pop's a bad dude, he beat a guy up in the public pool? Do you think that's a real story?
You know, it's the detail about the leg hair that makes me believe it.
For real?
Right, yeah.
You know what I think? You know what I think it was? Honestly, Bert?
Copy that.
I think he had like a valid brain glitch where his stomach got upset from the milk when he was eating corn pops. And it came into his head when he was thinking about some, you know.
I want him to make the story more modern, and he's like, I was fighting this trans person named Fruit Loop.
It was the corn pop in the modern version of the story.
It's when you add the detail.
That doesn't matter. You're really sticking to this mud wrestling routine, but I gotta be honest. We don't want to see you wrestle any women with curly blonde hair. You're gonna have to go out to the front.
He's got a lock on me.
Curly brown hair on their legs.
Or the LPGA.
So as comments, could we maybe offer this? A roast. What if we had a roast battle? Do you remember roast battles? Get on stage, slug it out with another comic?
Yeah, Trump, we're gonna roll.
Yeah, Trump, there was a roast of Donald Trump, which was good. The Bidens also had a roast of the Bucks after the Burisma money came in. So technically speaking, but would you guys sign up for a roast battle?
I would definitely sign up for a roast battle.
All right, Mark, hit us up on Twitter. You have two options. Okay, a roast battle emceed by Aaron Burke and Charles McBee, or Tudor Dixon one wrestles Gretchen Whitmer for the win.
I'm gonna lose right now.
Right. I'm already voting for the mud wrestlers. Extra play over the
I hear ya.
Bring in the top. Lots of great ideas here.
Who do you think brings in more money for their election if it's Gretchen versus me? And like,
I read you, Commander.
It's
Moving
going to be
out.
tough because you're going to get paid in singles. So it's going to take a while. Do not forget the shiny yellow jacket is on the table. Coming up, we're hitting the town with our game. It is called Strip Club or Daycare.
Yes.
So get out those dollar bills and play along next.
Got it.
Wouldn't dating be better with Carfax? You know, you meet someone at the bar after the show. You're like, I want to buy you a drink. Show me the
Walking
Carfax.
in always.
Wow, you sure do have a lot of miles on this thing.
That hit something good.
Says here you've been rear-ended a couple of times.
Warning. Enemy sensor lock detected. They've got a lock on me.
I'm John Robertson. I'll be co-anchoring our broadcast network coverage of democracy.
This isn't looking too good.
We have a relationship with our audience that they look at us for what the real deal is when it comes to politics. They trust us. They believe that we are
That shot
going to
went
tell the
internal.
story fairly, and that we will give them the tools that they need to make a decision about where this nation's future should go.
That shot got past my armor.
Customize and see.
Minimal.
Mark down.
Yes, Commander.
I think you're supposed to sign up for it.
Oh, am I? Thank you.
So a couple more. We'll just real quick. B, C. Bee-boo. Bee-boo.
Only pay for what you need.
My dry eyes gave me a burning, stinging 5 times a day. Make us scary.
Drop Caesar.
I want another option. That's
Got it.
not another drop. Tyrvaya, it's not another drop. It's the first half-only nasal spray for dry eye. Tyrvaya treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease fast by helping your body produce its own real tears. Common side
Roger
effects
that.
include sneezing, cough, and throat and nose irritation. Relying only on drops. Not me. My own real tears are my relief. Ask your eye doctor about Tyrvaya.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play
Casino
game that always gives you more. More Vegas action, more casino favorites. And the latest slots. Play Jackpot Party and win amazing surprises just for logging in. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million point bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
Eat delicious every day with the new Jenny Craig and feel great while losing weight.
I've lost 50 pounds with Jenny Craig.
Now Jenny Craig is delivered nationwide to your door.
The Jenny Craig food is so good.
And he missed.
Meals and indulgent desserts. Lose up to 24 pounds
No
in just
damage
8
detected.
weeks. Eat delicious every
Good to
day
go.
and lose weight with the new Jenny Craig. Take advantage of our special offer. Get $40 off every shipment with promo code Jenny. Order now.
Quick buy or sell your car exactly how you want with car gurus. Quick to get to wonder. the time.
Target confirmed. Good to go.
Some things do come true. Get your car Norway. Get it with Google.
Start your new year off right with the portable blender course called a true game changer. Blender 2 gives you big blender power on the go, so you can crush your resolutions wherever you are. It's perfect for shapes and more. Blender 2 is USB-C rechargeable, and best
When I
of all,
shoot you, you'll take it and like it.
make this year the
It
best.
got a sensor lock on me.
Blender.com to order yours now.
Warning. Enemy sensor lock detected.
I'll take sensor lock.
Travel sites at once.
I like to do things myself. Is it efficient?
Of course. But no machine will and travel, cleaning clothes.
No matter if he dies.
Kayak. Search one and done.
Whoa! Easy on the over, buddy. You can see daylight through my armor.
Taker.
Overbreathe.
Welcome back to
Internal
Fox News
damage.
Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon, the show you trust, to bring you the most accurate breaking news. Just kidding. Could you imagine? No, not even cut. Never even on like a paper route, let alone a news game. To mention that, we've gathered our best and brightest for a game we
Yes,
call
Commander.
Strip Club or Daycare. Two places with very different clientele, but surprisingly similar names. Now, I'm going to read out the name of a totally real establishment, and you're going to guess
On
if
my
it's a
way.
strip club or a daycare. The winner gets a lunch buffet voucher for the gentleman's establishment of their choice. Ooh, congratulations. You can get crabs and get crabs. There you go. Aaron Burke, you're batting lead off. The name of the venue is called Lollipops. In Daytona Beach, Florida, is Lollipops a strip club or a daycare?
Now, you know I was a stripper. I did it for a summer job. It was 4 years after.
On the move.
But I'm going to go with Lollipops is an adult establishment.
Bang! Aaron Burke on the board. Look at this. Tudor Dixon. It's called the Toy Chest in Detroit, Michigan, your home state.
Oh, yeah.
I know. This is misleading. The Toy Chest, Michigan, they think it's the one you have. But no, this is the actual establishment.
Yeah, no, yes, I do have a toy chest.
Hey, you're right. Ratings. Yeah, all right. Loading.
Well, now you have cancer, you get it. Oh, this is a consolation prize, the toy chest. So I would say...
Dark and lighting. That is such good team. All right.
So I say it is a strip club.
Tudor Dixon says it's a strip club. Tudor Dixon is correct.
Yeah.
Bang. All right. Little Darlings in Flint, Michigan. Oh, Little Darlings.
From Michigan. Oh, this is not easy.
I know.
I am gonna go with daycare.
You're going to go with daycare, and you are wrong. It's a strip club. It's also why it is closed again. It's closed in Flint, Michigan. Mary's Club.
Commander?
Mary's Club. Is it a strip club or a daycare?
Portland, Oregon sounds so politically correct. I have to go with a daycare, and I'm hoping I'm right.
Right,
Now you're all the way home there. Strip club.
They get this. It's not easy.
Come on, no, I told you that.
Critical hit, Commander.
No one can drop their kids off at the daycare because they all live in the car. Have you been to Portland? You haven't been to Portland? Mary's tent. And Tudor Dixon for the win. The Clubhouse in Dallas, Texas. The Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Oh, gosh.
Chance to put it away.
See rich men going secret places. Gotta call it the clubhouse because it sounds like you're going golfing. The clubhouse is a strip club.
Tudor Dixon for the win of the Congratulations. Do you have the name of the strip club you'd like a buffet out your I mean, listen, if you're trying to lose weight for TV like I am, a strip club is a great place to eat, you know. Tutor Dick's is on account of you winning the inaugural episode of Strip Club or Daycare. We are presenting you with the yellow jacket Tutor Dick.
Behemoth.
We love you, Tutor Dixon. Put it on, girlfriend.
Let me get it on.
Oh, there it is. Oh, just a minute. Does it not? Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. Does it not look amazing by all?
This is like very pretty.
Yeah, it's a hot look. No, it's 2024. It's now pretty person. You can't.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't assume.
All right, awesome.
Amazing work by everybody. Up next, the Kansas City Chiefs heading to the conference finals this weekend. But are Travis and Taylor heading for the altar or a one-way ticket to Splitsville? Love Guru Jenny Pala is here to explain it all next. Look at Jenny Pala. America is in the kicking business. And the way we're going, in 20 years, right? 20 years, we're going to have a military that's like, oh my gosh, ISIS called me an infidel. I am not fighting today.
Waiting for orders.
He has no home on this battlefield, mister. He has no home here.
Got it.
And that is going to be our military in 20 years. They're going to be rolling onto the battlefield in solar-powered tanks with coexist bumper stickers on the back. They're going to lose every war, and they're all going to come home with a trophy. The car is a car. It's a spot. An office. Hi. Hello. A cinema. So automated. Yes, the definition of a car changes. But one thing stays the same. It's a Mercedes-Benz. If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made, including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. Each pair comes standard with lenses that are scratch-resistant, anti-reflective, and UV protective. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
With every breath, modern living is
Commander.
breaking down our barriers. Armor Colostrum is nature's answer, strengthening your barriers
Roger.
cell by cell, unleashing health transformation.
Now, ADT professionally installs Google Nest products. Cool. And you're all set. With the most trusted name in home security as the intelligence of Google, you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT.
This is what it feels like to file with TaxSlayer.
I'm the big fun boss. All your refunded people today.
Not today. Save up to 8%.
Oh, that hit me.
Start for free. At SimpliSafe, our security system never stops protecting. Only our HD cameras and advanced sensors are powered by Fast Protect technology, exclusively from SimpliSafe, with faster police response. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Don't worry, battle escalates. As Republicans face up with the administration, will the crisis ever get under control? The late Ramaswamy and Stephen Miller speak out on editing.
Oh, you've been popping up in my dreams. I have the most intense dreams with you in it. Chef, please. Your match is at the center of a killing epic.
You're in people's minds when they sleep. I'm special, I guess.
Fake comes.
Little peons.
Do you own that part that says
Good to go.
laser? Yes.
Affirmative.
If alcohol builds a wall around you, it doesn't let you see where you're going. It keeps you feeling isolated and alone. Honest to.
That's a critical hit.
It's never too early or too late to ask for help with drinking problem. Alcoholism, there is no doubt. Information is AA.com and down.
Scorpion, get right in there, eh?
Leagues and courts in every province and territory across Canada. Squash is the sport for wall-to-wall fun, fitness, and friendship. From coast to coast to coast. Learn to play, and you'll want to do it every day. Squash. Play inside the box.
All weapons committed.
Oh, there it is. The NFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs could be your last time to see Taylor Swift at a football game this year. Now, social media is divided on the celebrity power couple known as Trailer, with some saying Travis and Taylor are the real deal, while others claim it's a doomed romance. Joining me now, a woman who's an expert on doomed romances. My wife, Jenny Fela, is here. Hey, girl. Hi. How are you? Good. Okay, good. Well, I wanted to have a conversation. Okay, and to be clear, people say this about, you're on the road all the time, you don't talk. No. To be clear, we see each other a lot. We just don't get to talk. I walk through the door, you attack me like I'm getting sexed into a Latino gang. I'm a person, Jenny. They're a human being, and I'm forcing you here to feel human. Okay, but I wanted to talk about Taylor and Travis because, you are the expert. Yeah. To be clear, you listen to confirm to the audience to the Travis, Kelsey, Jason, Kelsey podcast. New podcast. And you consider it really good, right? Very. So to start, I'm a 92%er. Yeah, is that one of their slang terms? Like, I'm not a Swiftie, I'm a 92%er. I dig that. Yeah. I'm not familiar with. I used to listen to it, but then the Bill Kane podcast went video. And he is, he is sensitive. If I can get him to beat himself to wrestle in the yard for a couple of months, I know you've tried to, but I'm just saying, one of these days. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be on Fox and More Than Friends. But let's go Willard, Taylor, and Travis. You and I love to do this with them.
I'm trying to injure my blackjack, eh? I see that.
I thought that was going another way where there was hanging pineapple flags upside down. We love to do this with company.
Actually, Jason, you already got the shirt. We're out there with Jason, Kelsey. You already took a shirt off. But let's start with one of your criteria. The first one is, are they looks compatible? Totally. You would say they are. They're both very good looking. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's important. Sure. As we've learned the hard way. No, yeah, absolutely.
Good to go. Moving to
At the wedding, the New Yorkers actually played Here Comes the Pizza. That's another group. But you would say they are looks compatible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
ready for orders.
Money-wise?
Yeah, they're both making their own money.
Another big criteria that both loaded.
Yeah.
Things we consider to be priorities for longevity. Family matters a lot.
They knock it out of the park with this one.
They do.
They both, the Kelsey brothers are so close to their family. They're great brothers. They just really, they have that. And you can tell Taylor Swift's very, close to her family too. And their families have met. They seem to be going.
This is the best. What this is serious though. You would give to people is, and I mean this though, is you're trying to start a family with somebody. It does help if they have a relationship with their family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And knowing when you're in a relationship with somebody and if it eventually goes to marriage, maybe there's well, maybe it won't. But you marry into that family. That cliche is so true. Like you have to be able to.
Unfortunate.
This is unfair. Yeah, right? I really need to put my feet up on the couch.
Exclusively they come with that. I should court them.
Just not with Mom and Daddy.
Orders.
We also consider the key to longevity probably common enemies, or what I mean
On
by
my
that.
way.
So they say the world needs love, sweet love. But if you both hate the same thing, is it not valuable?
Yeah, totally.
So do you think they need to find a common enemy?
I think they probably do. I think like internet trolls, I think you could probably bond over like people just speculating and like saying horrible things about that. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes fun. And I would say that because sometimes you don't have enough people to hate, and it does turn inward. Now, this is true, and you'll admit to this on TV. We don't fight.
No, not now.
We actually do. Not right now. That was like 2 contracts ago. You stop it. I do means that fighting style matters. Like, you have to have a compatible fighting style. If you can't stand the way the person fights, you're probably harder to make up.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you like to have a unique
Excellent.
fighting style when you moved to New York from Ohio? She knows this is coming. Jenny, when you used to get mad at me, tutor, it's called, she used to suitcase me. And what that means is, she would put a suitcase on the bed and start packing it like, I'm walking out. And I'd be like, Jenny, no. And she would put on Dolly Parton, I Will Always Love You. And it would work for the most part. But one time we fought to the point
Okay.
you hid under your mom's
Good to
bed.
go.
I hid under my mom's bed and just let her leave. I was that mad. She came in, found me under the bed, and Big Man got rough from there, but in the bed.
Acknowledge.
So, Jenny, the perfect will it work for Travis and Taylor?
I think so.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Probably no for us. Jenny, we love you. You're the best. All right, thanks, Jenny. Bailing.
Affirmative.
Dixon, for helping. And it's time for me to answer all your questions. Ask a cabbie.
Recording. One more vehicle. Yes, Commander.
Aside from all these fat kids, though, honestly, the kidnappings are down like 93% right now. You can't get them in the car fast enough at those speeds. Could you imagine being a kidnapper, though, in this day and age? You pull up from the white van, you're like, kid, I got candy, get in. He's like, does it contain high fructose corn syrup?
Here's to getting better things.
Here's the big D2 every Thursday.
Move our next two MechWarriors. Resolve.
Complete nutrition you need.
Ah.
Without the stuff you don't. So, here's to now.
When it's time for an update or a complete remodel, Rebap is with you every step of the way. From design and products to removal and installation, we handle the entire process to create a beautiful and functional bathroom for whatever your life needs. Rebap, with you every step of the way. Call or visit rebap.com for your free in-home design consultation.
The first document of Jordan, exposing human trafficking on the border, then open source, who dared to tell the truth, censored, demonetized, and attacked. We've been jailed in China, in Hong Kong, and tortured, and then tied to a chair and bloody. In prison and online, we have the courage to deliver the truth at all costs. The Epoch Times is your source for truth. Discover truth at theepochtimes.com now.
Oh, I see.
Children's Research Hospital because he believed no child should die in the dawn of life. In 1984, a patient named Stacy arrived, and it began her family's touching story that is still going on today. Childhood cancer. It's just hard. Stacy passed on Christmas Day of 1986. There is no pain like losing a child, but St. Jude gave us more years to love on her each day. You can join the battle to save lives. For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need now and in the future.
I remember as a child walking the halls of St. Jude and watching my sister fight for her life. We never imagined that we would come back. And then my son, Charlie, was diagnosed with human sarcoma.
I'm thinking we already had a catastrophic disease in our family. Not my grandson, too. St. Jude has helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate from 20% when it opened to 80% today. Join with your credit or debit card for only $19 a month, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you could proudly wear and show your support.
For anybody that would give, the money is going towards research, and you are the reason my child is here today. I'll just declare this will be 2 years cancer-free.
Brought it down, Commander.
But there's thousands and thousands of kids who need help. St. Jude, how many lives they do save? It's just so many.
Charlie's progress warms my heart. But memories of little angels like Stacey are why we need your help. Please become a St. Jude partner at home right now.
Beam.
Right. Roger
Oh,
that.
it's about to get party in here. Betting teams got all the sports betting in one place. And it's live, baby. Oh, we put some money lines in real time.
Taking the shot.
We got second-hand fans and third-hand winners as they
Vehicle trash.
in expense. Odds, accident. There it is.
As events unfold, Fox News is live at 9. BattleMechs. We'll take you through it all.
Can't take many more hits like that. Commander?
Harris says the top stories covered on
Right,
Focus
Commander.
only on Fox News Channel.
Ugh!
See something. But the problem is nobody adheres to it. We live in New York City.
Move her down.
We're always seeing something. You know what I'm saying? That block ago, there was a guy arguing with a parking meter. Okay, that's not normal behavior. In any other town in America, you see a guy yelling at a parking meter. You're like, that guy's crazy. New York, you see a guy yelling at a parking meter. You're like, oh, it's Raymond. Hey, how you doing, man? Did you ever get the gas for your spaceship?
Standing by. Affirmative.
Yes, it is. It is time for Ask a Cabin, where we tap into the wealth of wisdom I acquired picking up freaks, geeks, and pipsqueaks. If you have a question for me, use the hashtag AskACabin
All weapons
or email us at fnsaturdayNightFans@fox.com. fnsaturdayNightFans@fox.com. If you have a selfie video question, send it to us. We will put you on TV like this next guest. First up, T-Bone sent us this.
So, my question to you is, who is your
Excellent.
sponsor of all
That was dope.
T-Bone, I gotta be honest, I couldn't
Time
see
for a
you
bowl.
with that outfit. A little loud. That's coming from me, girlfriend.
Yes, I smoke copious amounts of weed, so the fuck what? I cough, but who cares?
I'm actually a huge fan of Evander Holyfield.
Do you breathe?
I might have licensed him to fight one time too many because I met him here at Fox, and I was like, "Hey, champ, how you doing?" And he goes, "Probably." I don't know if this is a good sign for the champ, but to answer the question, modern times Holyfield or whoever's dating Chris Brown. Next, Jacqueline writes, "Where do you get all your blazers that you wear? You are definitely the best dressed on Fox. Take that, Charles Payne." Well, to start, we do have a fabulous wardrobe department. Manny, Jenna, Allison. They did
Ooh, boy.
when I was giving the show, but they were great through the years. I love them. And I shop a lot on the road when I'm doing stand-up at the places I perform, which is why some of it's a little loud, like casinos, or
Shit, I gotta need another pilot.
doing what. But if you like my jackets,
You got killed.
you can wear them in men's. And
110 fucking days. Holy shit, man. I thought XCOM was bad. Must have had a couple busted arms in that one. That's a headshot there. You could have died too. That's my main guy. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay.
Because someone sold it on Craigslist, because I've been on both sides of that. In fact, I used to deliver my baby, Lincoln Fella, to Jenny's parents in the middle of Pennsylvania. Back when I was a cab driver, we would meet them at exit 120. Pantry parking lot. I would pull up in a cab, hand them a baby, and drive away. How am I not on a government job list? Okay, Todd sent in a question.
Jimmy, describe the sketchiest situation you had in the cab ride.
Ooh, that's a good one. I was fleeing a drug deal gone bad on 112th and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. A guy jumped in my cab, threw a bunch of money over the partition, and was like, "Go, go, go!" And I turned around and I saw two dudes run out of the projects, pulling up their pants. And finally, Joanne asks, "Anyone ever light up a joint in your cab?" Now, real talk, I've actually never seen a passenger light a joint in my cab, but I have seen a driver light a joint in my cab. I'm kidding, all those vehicular homicide charges are bogus, but you are the real deal, girlfriend. And be sure to send your Ask a Cabbie questions to fnsaturdayNightFans@fox.com. Remember, we love your video questions. Thanks for watching Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon. Set your DVR to 10 p.m. Eastern every Saturday right here on Fox News. Don't forget to follow us on social media at FN Saturday Night. Pre-order my book, Cancel Culture Dictionary, right now before it hits the shelves January 30th. Big week for me. And check out my Cancel Culture special on Fox Nation, dropping tomorrow. I'm coming to a city near you on my Everybody Calm Down tour. Tickets on sale now. So long from New York City. I'm your main man, Jimmy Fallon, reminding you.
Hey, boys. I gotcha. I gotcha. I gotcha, Mr. Boys. Oh my good boy.
President Biden now promising America will respond to shocking new escalation in the Middle East.
Oh my good boy. Oh good boy. Oh good boy. Oh my good boy. That's a good boy, Mr. Gizmo. My dog's the best dog in the world.
U.S. officials say an Iran-backed
That's a good boy.
aerial drone targeted the Tower 22 military outpost on the Syrian border. It marks a significant development of tension that has been building in the Middle East. Since the start of Israel's war against Hamas, there have been at least 160 attacks on U.S. bases. We have seen coverage for you this evening. Trey Yates is live in Tel Aviv, Israel, with the latest overseas. And President of Iris Independent Research, Dr. Rebecca Grant, is standing by with her analysis. But first, Lucas Tomlinson live at the White House with reaction from the president. Lucas.
John, it's the deadliest attack on U.S. forces in the Middle East since the October 7th massacre. U.S. Central Command says 3 American soldiers were killed, 34 were wounded in that drone strike in northeast Jordan. President Biden spoke about the attack for the first time earlier in South Carolina. Iranian-backed militias who call themselves the Axis of Resistance claim responsibility for the attack. The drones hit the sleeping quarters of a small outpost in Jordan known as Tower 22, which sits on the border with Syria near Iraq and close to the U.S. base in Syria known as the Tom Garrison, where hundreds of U.S. troops are based, including special forces. Iran sends weapons from Tehran to Damascus and Beirut along this route where the bases are located. The attack follows a ballistic missile strike on a base in Iraq last weekend that injured 4 American troops. 2 U.S. Navy SEALs died off the coast of Yemen earlier this month while boarding a ship carrying Iranian missile components bound for Yemen. The White House says President Biden and the Vice President were briefed by the National Security Team this afternoon and included the National Security Advisor, Secretary of State, the Defense Secretary, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, DNI Chief, CIA Director, and the U.S. Ambassador to the UN. Now, as far as response options go for the President, John, it's notable there's 1 less aircraft carrier striking from the region. The USS Gerald R. Ford, along with their destroyer and cruiser escorts, returned home to the United States earlier this month. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower remains on station in the Red Sea. Her jet's been striking Yemen in recent weeks, and her escort's been launching Tomahawk cruise missiles and shooting down drones and ballistic missiles fired from Iran's rebel army in Yemen. The U.S. Air Force also has jets and are an option in United Arab Emirates. 2 weeks ago, President Biden was asked about Iran. Senator Tom Cotton said in a statement, quote, the only answer to the devastating military retaliation within Iran and across the Middle East. Anything less will confirm Joe Biden as a coward unworthy of being commander-in-chief.
The key is you've got to inflict pain on Iran, not these Shia proxy groups that Iran doesn't care about. Because we can kill all them, we can hit their facilities, we can hit their warehouses. Iran will keep sending that stuff out. Iran does not care about those assets.
The names of the 3 American soldiers who were killed today in Jordan will be released after their families are notified. John?
Presumably somebody at the White House and the Pentagon, Lucas, is looking at targets in Iran itself. But we're not going to know until the U.S. decides.
Oh my boy. Oh my boys. That's a good boys. Ba 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 ba. Find enemy light.
Where those strikes will take place, whether it's Iraq, Syria, Yemen, or even inside Iran, remains to be determined.
But that statement also said we will respond in our own time, words to that effect. So maybe don't look for anything immediate.
It's tough to say, John. Certainly there's U.S. forces in the region, but it is notable that one U.S. carrier strike group is not in the region, not being an option. Remember, it's not just Gerald Ford, the aircraft carrier that left the Mediterranean. You also have Guided missile destroyers and a cruiser loaded with Tomahawk cruise missiles. Those are not there. Of course, you do have USS Dwight D. Eisenhower in the sea. You have Air Force jets at Al Dhafra Air Base.
Shit, I didn't want to lose the guy so early. Oh well. Okay.
Lucas Tomlinson at White House Force. Lucas, thank you. For more on how this deadly attack could escalate the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, let's bring in Trey Yanks. He's live in Jerusalem.
We need one pilot.
Yeah, John, good evening. The region is
How much money I got? $1 million. Okay. Wait, let me go to Mech Bay first. Dr. Yang.
Tonight there are reports of increased drone activity over the Iraqi capital of Baghdad. We're also getting a new statement tonight from an organization who says they are responsible for the drone strike that killed these 3 Americans. We're talking about the Islamic Resistance in Iraq. This is an umbrella organization of Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias. This organization releasing a statement saying they are continuing their approach of resisting, quote, American occupation forces in Iraq and the region. They directly tie this attack to the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas inside the Gaza Strip. But analysts have noted this has expanded much beyond that conflict, understanding that Iran is trying to ignite the Middle East in an effort to use the situation on the ground to their own advantage amid rising regional and economic pressure against the Islamic Republic. We should also note we're getting a new statement tonight from the Jordanians where this attack took place on their soil, saying this was a terrorist attack that they condemn and that they are working with their American partners to push back against terrorism and drug smuggling along their borders. This has been a difficult 24 hours for U.S. forces across the region, but as Lucas noted, there are a variety of options on the table for an American response that we understand at this hour is not a question of if, but rather when and how. John.
Meantime, they're in Jerusalem, Trey. The Israelis are saying they have evidence that UN workers were actually taking part in the atrocities of October 7th perpetrated by Hamas.
Yeah, absolutely. A very concerning development this past week that actually caused the United States and some of its allies to temporarily suspend funding to this UN relief agency that millions of Palestinians rely on when it comes to aid, not just inside Gaza, but also in the West Bank. This all started when a list of 12 names was delivered by the Israelis to the UN, listing that these individuals took part at least in the October 7th attack, whether or not they were linked or There's also an investigation about what exactly their involvement was, but certainly a concerning development as this was a key organization on the ground in Gaza leading up to the October 7th massacre, and these links are very concerning. John.
UN workers implicated. It is appalling. Trades to Jerusalem. Thanks, Trey. For more on the deadly attack on U.S. troops in the Middle East, let's bring in Dr. Rebecca Grant, a national security and military analyst who also serves as president of IRIS Independent Research. The numbers are pretty alarming, Dr. Grant. 160 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East. And this one has finally resulted in 3 deaths. There are also those 2 Navy SEALs who died while trying to board a ship bound for Yemen or coming from Yemen. At any rate, what does the Biden administration need to do to stop this kind of attack on the part of Iran?
Well, no question, this is President Biden's moment of decision. How does he craft a strike that will not only get after the militias that actually carried this out, but will really address the big problem here, which is we are now going head-to-head with Iran, and the lives of our American servicemen are at risk.
Hey, stay away from my pop.
So I think the options are first to strike the direct military targets that have supported the drone strikes, but then also to consider the pain on Iran. Is that strikes against their big new oil terminal, the jazz terminal down in the bottom? Are they going to go after, you know, the Iranian ship in the Red Sea? What will they do to make the Iranian, Esnogani and the others who support these militias understand that they've got to back off? I'm glad to see the statement too from Jordan supporting the U.S. forces there, and a really strong statement from Jordan.
When President Trump was in office, he ordered that drone strike that killed one of the Iranian military leaders. Is that the kind of thing that you think would be effective and maybe necessary now?
Well, and this is exactly the question. We've seen strikes going back even just a couple of days ago, striking back against when they can find the teams that are using the drones for the missiles. They can also strike command and control and warehouses where the drone parts are stored. But I think we need more of a political message in this strike at this point, something that will make Iran's Revolutionary Guard understand what the problem is. And before any of that can happen, we'll see an increase in force protection for our bases in that region, not only the one that was struck, but the one nearby at Tanf, and of course our forces in Iraq as well. So that force protection level ratcheting up. And we have plenty of firepower, whether it's sea-based or our land-based aircraft. But CENTCOM is a really good choice of targets that will get the message through to Iran.
So something like an oil refinery you think would be an appropriate response?
You know, no idea, and I'm sure that there is an already prepared target list, but I think the decision point is not just about hitting teams that are launching drones, but about hitting something that's important to the mullahs in Iran. So is that something like infrastructure, their oil
That's what I would do, yeah.
some of their military radar sites? What is that target that's going to make the difference? And will allies come with us? Will they be involved?
That's good.
Behind the scenes from other partners in the region, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and others.
The Iranian government is sort of hanging on by its fingernails. I mean, it does not enjoy popular support in its, in its own country. Is there the kind of attack you think available that would help lift up the Iranian population to depose the mullahs?
Wouldn't that be great? I don't know that that can be done with a military strike, but what I think is important is Iran is already deeply unpopular with other governments in the region for supporting these terrorist attacks, for creating the chaos from the Red Sea, now up in Jordan, which really does not want to see this happening. And so this is more and more pressure against Iran, and frankly, that could be a positive development as countries in the region understand that Iran really is the problem and close things off diplomatically with Iran.
It'd be good to see. Dr. Rebecca Grant. Dr. Grant, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now, several lawmakers are urging the president to escalate attacks on Iran proxies in response to this deadly strike that killed American troops. Missouri Republican Congressman Eric Burleson joins me now. Congressman, what would you like to see done in response to this attack on U.S. forces?
Yeah, I would like to see an ending of this posture of appeasement from the Biden administration. Reagan once spoke about the fact that appeasement only leads to more war. That it takes away the choice between peace and war, and instead replace it with fight and surrender. And that's what when you accommodate regimes like Iran, and you allow them to increase their oil production, and which has increased their coffers to the tune of close to $35 billion during the Biden administration. In addition, when he released sanctions allowing access to billions of dollars, and then when Biden's posture towards Israel is to encourage them to back off, to respond on the terrorist attacks against Israel, then you're sending a message to the people in Iran that the United States is weak. And I think that the first thing we need to do is go back to the posture under the Trump administration of strength.
It seems like, there's been talk of going after these teams that are launching some of the ballistic missiles or the drones, from Yemen, from among the Houthis. Iran doesn't care if some of those Houthis get killed or if they lose a couple of drones or a missile or two. What is a target? What is something in Iran or something that Iran cares about that would get their attention?
I think we need to strangle their ability to sell oil. And look, one of the things that's boosting their profitability when it comes to oil is the fact that the Biden administration has a hostile attitude towards oil exploration here in the United States. So I think that we need an above all approach. But at the end of the day, I think that when they're using every dollar they can and funding these terrorists across the Middle East, I think that we need to starve them from their financial resources.
It's always a sensitive topic, though, on Capitol Hill when the president orders U.S. military forces into action to respond against, some kind of provocation somewhere in the world. Well, the Congress is the one that is supposed to authorize war. Is there any sentiment on Capitol Hill that says, wait a minute, Mr. President, you need congressional authorization for some kind of response here?
Yeah, and I'm certainly in that camp. I voted to remove some of the emergency war powers that the president has had. And I think that it should be a decision of Congress. And I would be hesitant to send any more troops into a situation where Iran is baiting us into some kind of conflict. I think that they want to draw in the other neighboring countries into this conflict, because I don't think that Iran wants to fight either Israel or the United States head on. But at the end of the day, that's where we're at. We're at a war with Iran. It's a proxy war, and I think that the low-hanging fruit is to starve them financially.
What about something like a blockade? Is that even feasible, do you think?
I think so. I think that their hostility and funding terrorist activities in the Red Sea indicate that that's fair game for the United States to start policing that activity.
Jim, I mentioned earlier that former President Trump ordered the drone strike that killed General Soleimani in Iran. And, there were all these people who said, oh, you're bringing on World War III when you do something like that. Iran was very, very circumspect in its response. There was hardly any blowback from that attack. And now all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but now Iran seems emboldened to make these repeated attacks on American sites. Do we need to do something big, like take out another Iranian military leader?
That might be on the table. I don't know exactly what key figures that they've identified. But I will say that it's a stark contrast between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. Under the Trump administration, for the first time in my lifetime, we were actually seeing the president achieve what many presidents had promised, which was peace in the Middle East. Neighboring nations to Israel were signing the Abraham Accords. We were going down a path towards further peace. Unfortunately, Joe Biden has taken us backwards in that progress.
Congressman Eric Burleson, Republican from Missouri. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
We'll be right back with more on the deadly attack on American forces in Jordan when the Watch Report continues.
This program is brought to you by Mercenary.
Moving forward with node-positive breast cancer is overwhelming, but I never just found my way. I needed and did all I could to prevent recurrence. Verzenio reduces the risk of recurrence in HR-positive, HER2-negative, node-positive early breast cancer with a high chance of returning, as determined by your doctor when added to hormone therapy. Hormone therapy works outside the cell, while Verzenio works inside to help stop the growth of cancer cells. Diarrhea is common, may be severe, or cause dehydration or infection. At the first sign, call your doctor, start an antidiarrheal, and drink fluids. Before taking Verzenio, tell your doctor about any fever, chills, or other signs of infection. Verzenio may cause low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infection that can lead to death. Life-threatening lung inflammation can occur. Tell your doctor about any new or worsening trouble breathing, cough, or chest pain. Serious liver problems can happen. Symptoms include fatigue, appetite loss, stomach pain, and bleeding or bruising. Blood clots that can lead to death have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have pain or swelling in your arms or legs, shortness of breath, chest pain, and rapid breathing or heart rate, or if you are nursing, pregnant, or plan to be. I'm making my own way forward. Ask your doctor about everyday Verzenio.
I work hard and I want my wife to work hard too. So I use my Freedom Unlimited card. And on my favorite suit,
Got it. Earn it or daddy click. Don't touch it yet. Look at the big. Nope. This one. Nope. This one. Yes. No, where's the big? All six eyes. Wait. Let me get them all. I'm big. Chase Freedom Unlimited. How do you cash back? Chase. Make more. What's yours? A forced reckoning. No, not easy. Dude, your business bank account with QuickBooks Money now earns 5% APY. 5% APY? That's new. Yep, that's how you business different.
You've got a competitive car this year? Central engine, very special materials, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive. Can't beat them with a normal car. Yes, you can. If you drive it.
Rallying is a dangerous sport. Doesn't look like
Listen, to me, I'll do whatever I have to do. That coward will never win against me. Walter, it's now or never. Push.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, next for me?
No. Should I get off river with the side of drive?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Matt Canada.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids? Drugs are out there. Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids? I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids? Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Call or chat to get real-time support.
3 American troops are killed and dozens more wounded in a drone strike by Iran-backed proxy groups in Jordan overnight. It is the latest in at least 160 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East over the past 3 months. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has this statement. Iran-backed militias are responsible for these continued attacks on U.S. forces, and we will respond at a time and place of our choosing. The President and I will not tolerate attacks on American forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our troops, and our interests. Joining us now on the phone is Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin. Jennifer, anything new coming from the Pentagon tonight?
Well, John, we are hearing increasing bipartisan calls from senior members of the Armed Services Committee on the Hill to strike not only Iranian proxy forces, but Iranian targets. You've heard from Senator Roger Wicker, who's a senior Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, calling for the U.S. to strike Iranian targets and its leadership. And you also heard from Congressman Adam Smith, who's a senior Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, calling for Iran to be held to account. This is the deadliest attack on U.S. forces since Abbey Gate in August 2021, when 13 service members were killed. It is notable that a U.S. defense official said that in addition to 3 dead American soldiers, there are also more than 30, up to 34 injured, and that number could rise given the traumatic brain injuries that are being scanned for right now. Among those troops that were at the Tower 22, some of them have been taken to Ramstuhl in Germany and medevaced out, so some of those injuries are serious. Tower 22, I think it's important to point out, is right at the corner where Syria, Jordan, and Iraq come together. Al-Walid Air Base in Iraq is not far from there. The Atam base, where the U.S. Special Forces are based, who are carrying out a lot of the counter-ISIS missions. This is a very important passage point, and you heard from the Jordanians who mentioned that is where they called this, first of all, a terror attack, which was significant. But Iranian forces have been not only carrying out drone strikes in that area against Jordanian forces, but also bringing drugs across there. This is a major smuggling route, and those U.S. troops that were hit in their sleep last night, they were part of the support and logistical forces supporting those American forces on the other side of the border as part of the ISIS mission. It's important to look, John, at why this is happening right now. Iran, from the beginning, has been trying to bait the U.S. using its proxies since the October 7th attack in Gaza, and after the attack by Hamas in Israel. The Iranians have been trying to bait the U.S. into direct conflict. The Iranians have not been deterred by any of the U.S. action so far. And look at the timing of what's happening. Right on the eve of a possible ceasefire in Gaza, we've heard reports that CIA Director Bill Burns had a meeting with the head of Israeli Mossad and the Qatari Prime Minister and the Egyptians, and that those hostages in exchange for 2 months of ceasefire. This is designed to blow that up. In addition, there are talks taking place this week, and the Iranians would have known about that, between the U.S. and Iraq about the future of the 2,500 U.S. forces that are in Iraq. So they also want to put pressure on those talks and embarrass America at a time when they are talking to the Iraqis about whether the U.S. will stay and help in the counter-ISIS fight. Also, a week ago, 17 ballistic missiles fired by an Iranian proxy at the Al-Assad air base. It's only a miracle that more U.S. troops were not killed in that attack, because 2 of those ballistic missiles did get through and hit the base. U.S. officials who I've spoken to for the last 3 months have felt that American troops are sitting ducks in these bases and these outposts across the Middle East, and they, while they have increased the countermeasures and the defenses, Patriot missile defenses and they've taken down numerous drones and ballistic missiles, they just felt that it was a matter of time. Now we will be moving into the next phase. Secretary Austin issued a very strong statement tonight saying he's outraged, deeply saddened by the death. The Iran-backed militias, he said, are responsible for these continuous attacks, and, quote, we will respond at a time and place of our choosing. So, John, now all eyes on the Pentagon and CENTCOM Commander General Eric Kurilla, who will be, no doubt, presenting strike options to the president in the coming hours and days.
You are going to have a busy week ahead. Jennifer Griffin from the Pentagon. Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you, John.
With more reaction on the attacks against American troops, let's bring in Sarah Bedford, an investigative editor for the Washington Examiner. There's been a lot of anger, disappointment on Capitol Hill that these 160 roughly attacks since the Hamas-Israel war started on October 7th, 160 attacks on U.S. forces, and the response from America has been pretty light. Is this finally going to tip the balance, Sarah?
I think obviously, John, we're seeing it tip the balance on Capitol Hill. Republicans who had just expressed, sort of growing concerns, but far milder than what we're seeing now, have been pushing the Biden administration to do more to deter what looks like increasing aggression from Iran and its proxies. And now the Biden administration is not going to be able to ignore that criticism anymore. And also Biden's policies before all of this are going to come under the microscope. The decision, for example, to delist the Houthis as a terrorist group before the Houthis have started launching serious attacks against U.S. forces in the region. The decision by the Biden administration to continue this policy of appeasement for Iran in the face of all of the evidence that has not
Go to the captain's quarters.
all of that is going to come back to haunt the Biden administration now that they're trying to figure out a way forward and respond to this.
It is possible, I suppose, that the prospects of the re-election of the previous president are heightened by this.
Which nation?
Donald Trump put out today on Truth Social. He writes, "This brazen attack on the United States is yet another horrific and tragic consequence of Joe Biden's weakness and surrender." I suppose there are Biden advocates who see it differently. But after 160 attacks, when they finally, kill American service members, it's hard to see it any other way.
Right, and I think Trump's message there could really go beyond the situation that we're talking about now. I mean, starting
in 2021 with a disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Russia's decision to feel emboldened enough to invade Ukraine, Chinese spy balloons floating over the U.S., Hamas attacking Israel, and now U.S. service members being killed in the Middle East by emboldened proxies of Iran. I mean, all of this sort of reinforces the criticism that Joe Biden is incapable of shepherding the U.S. through a time when the world is more chaotic and dangerous than it was under Donald Trump. That is an argument politically that I think Donald Trump, if he focused on it enough on the campaign trail, could be successful for him.
It's going to be an interesting week. We'll see what happens. Sarah Bedford. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you.
Back with more Fox Report in just a moment.
He hits a smart center stage and is crushed by a baby grand piano.
You're replacing me?
Customize and save with Liberty Big.
He doesn't even have a mustache.
Only pay for what you need.
With moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, my skin was no longer mine.
My active psoriatic inflammation symptoms held me back. Don't let symptoms define you. Emerge as you. With Tremfya, most people saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months, and the majority stay clearer at 5 years. Tremfya is proven to significantly reduce joint pain, stiffness, and swelling. It's just 6 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya can increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight. Tell your doctor if you have any no symptoms or if you had a vaccine or claims.
Emerge as you. Emerge Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
I was just feeling sick. And it was the worst day. Well, it was fine. I was sad.
I was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma.
Once we got the first initial hit, it was just straight tears, sickness in your stomach, just don't want to get up out of bed.
That's it. Well, you gotta look on the bright side. Tell me what the bright side of childhood cancer is.
It's a long road. It's hard. But St. Jude has gotten us through it.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital works day after day to find cures and save the lives of children with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Thanks to generous donors like you, families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child.
Without all of those donations, St. Jude would not be able to do all of the exceptional work that they do.
For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need.
No matter if it's a big business or just the grandmother that donates, they are changing people's lives. And that's a big deal.
Join with your debit or credit card right now, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you can proudly wear to show your support.
Our family is forever grateful for donations big and small, because it's completely changed our lives and it's given us a second chance. St. Jude's not going to stop until every single kid gets that chance to walk out of the Northwest Hospital cancer-free.
Please don't wait. Call or go online or scan the QR code below right now.
Before planning the wedding, your bad hip was really acting up. Then, you heard about Mako robotic-assisted hip replacement. It starts with a CT scan to pinpoint the problem. It becomes a personalized 3D plan to guide your doctor during surgery. Mako can help lead to better outcomes, like less pain and shorter recovery times. The lifetime of a hip implant is limited, and revision surgery may be required. Individual results and recovery times vary. Risks of surgery include pain, infection, heart attack, stroke, death, and other serious risks. Ask your doctor for important safety information. To find a doctor who uses Mako, visit MakoCan.com.
Muscle cramps were keeping me up at night, so then I tried SlowMag, the magnesium plus calcium supplement that helps relax tense muscles so I can rest comfortably. And SlowMag tablets have a slow-release formula that's gentle on the stomach. That's why I use SlowMag.
If you're just now joining us, the world is waiting for President Biden to follow through on his promise to retaliate after the deadly attack on a military base in Jordan. 3 U.S. troops were killed at Tower 22, a military outpost near the Syrian border. U.S. defense officials now telling Fox News that at least 34 service members are injured, and that number still could rise. Let's bring in Lucas Tomlinson once again. He's live at the White House. Lucas, the president has promised retaliation. We just don't know what that will entail.
That's right, John. The president has vowed to respond. When and where remains to be determined. Now, it's notable, remember when the president authorized 2 carrier strike groups to go to the Middle East. He was very forthright about that. Now, today, there's only one. USS Gerald R. Ford strike group returned home to Norfolk in the United States. There's only one carrier strike group now in the Middle East. That's the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. Of course, has been very busy launching strikes against Iran's rebel army in Yemen. Now, how quickly we forget, for weeks now, the Houthi rebels, backed by Iran and Yemen, have been launching attacks on commercial shipping, causing major disruptions there. And Guided missile destroyers and the cruiser USS Philippine Sea have been shooting down ballistic missiles, carrying out Tomahawk strikes. So this is just cocktail, napkin math here if you're the Iranians. There's only a limited number of Tomahawks in those VLS cells, vertical launch systems aboard those destroyers. So in terms of is there enough firepower in the region? We'll see. You also have 2 carrier strike groups in the Pacific right now. The USS Carl Vinson, you have the USS Feudal Roosevelt as well. So perhaps you could move one of those carrier strike groups from the Pacific over into the Middle East. And of course, the U.S. Air Force keeps F-16s, F-15s at Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates, John.
What about this base itself? It's my understanding that it primarily is designed to assist the Jordanian government in anti-terror operations. There are a lot of, logistics experts and electronic warfare experts, that kind of thing, who are based there.
That's right, John. There's about 900 American troops based in Syria. The majority of them are in eastern Syria. This unit, though, this Tomp garrison is just over the border from Jordan in Syria. That's not there to defeat ISIS, to fight ISIS. Okay, there's a rat line, if you will, that goes from Tehran all the way into Damascus and Lebanon, into Beirut, funneling weapons. Some of these weapons we've seen being launched into Israel. They come from Tehran along this route line. That is why U.S. forces have kept this base. You remember when former President Trump was thinking about removing some of those troops from Syria? There's a lot of pushback. John Bolton, the Pentagon, pushback saying the forces at this Tomp garrison, supported by U.S. troops in Jordan, just over the border, those forces are there to help defeat the Iranian-backed militias, who no doubt carried out these strikes and have claimed responsibility for these strikes. That's why those American forces are there, John.
It's my understanding also that some of these Iran-affiliated groups are pulling their people out of bases in that area because they're afraid of an American response.
Well, that's their MO, John. It's shoot and scoot. As soon as they launch those rockets, and in this case, drones, they're going to haul us out of there. That's what they're trained to do. Now, let's not forget some of these other strikes, John. 2 $32 million Reaper drones have been shot down in recent months as well. There's the one on the coast of Yemen. There's another in northern Iraq as well. This costs $32 million apiece. So today was the deadliest attack on U.S. forces in the Middle East since October 7th, really since the Abu Ghraib suicide attack in Afghanistan during the pullout from there. But there's been a lot going on, over 160 attacks against our forces in the Middle East, and clearly Iran has not been deterred. When the Pentagon and the president said 2 U.S. carrier strike groups were going to the region, this will deter Iran. Clearly Iran is not getting the message, and for weeks now the Pentagon has been insisting they don't want to see this crisis expand outside of Gaza since the October 7th massacre. But the facts on the ground, John, tell a much different story. The war has expanded. Someone called a low-grade war.
Lucas Tomlinson at the White House for us. Lucas, thank you. Coming up on the Fox Report, House Republicans are poised to pull the trigger on an impeachment vote to remove DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. That as the standoff between the feds and the state of Texas continues over a hotly contested migrant border entry point in Eagle Pass. We will take you there next.
Electra.
But I see all of us out here on those roads. I see. Go.
Mucinex Night Shift fights your worst nighttime symptoms, so you can get to sleep and wake up ready to go. Wake up to a new you with Mucinex Night Shift. It's not cold and flu season. It's always comeback season. This or that, this or that, this or that, this or that. You do this, and you can. You can do this, and you can. You can do this, and you can. You can do this, and that.
Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Get started today at Angie.com.
I did hearing aids from another company. I was just frustrated. I almost gave up. With MechWarrior, it's all about service. They're personable, they're friendly. I'm very happy with them.
We provide you with a free lifetime of aftercare, meaning free checkups, cleanings, and adjustments.
I see someone new, someone happy. It's really made a difference.
Try Miracle Ear hearing aids with no commitment during our resolution to hear better events. Call 1-800-MIRACLE now.
Hey, what's up? It's the People's Park here, Dave and Don. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. This one is about how to create a wow factor in your home. And nearly every way we survive home comments about how amazing it smells. My family and I feel like we live in a luxurious hotel every day. I mean, think about it. It's been over 2 years, and still, the first thing anyone notices when they walk through the doors of our home is how it smells.
It's time. Yes, the time has come for a fresh approach to dog food. Every day, more dog people are deciding it's time to quit the kibble and feed their dogs fresh food from the farmer's dog. Made by vets and delivered right to your door, precisely portioned for your dog's needs. It's an idea whose time has come.
The time has come.
Only 47. Aneurysm. Did he have life insurance? Do you? Gotta get on it. Check out SelectQuote. Trust me, the peace of mind, it's worth it. Life insurance is too important to put off another day. That's why SelectQuote makes getting coverage you need easy, for less than $1 a day. Now get up to a $2 million policy with no medical exam and same-day coverage.
Visit SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save.
90,000 new chemicals have entered our world in the last 50 years. Only 5% have been tested for safety. Can you feel it? With every breath, modern living is breaking down your barriers, weakening your defense against threats from your everyday environment. But nature holds a solution. Armor Colostrum. Armor ignites your body's ability to strengthen its barriers, cell by cell, unleashing transformation for your health, for life, as it should be.
When I started Laura Geller Beauty over 25 years ago, I realized that there weren't enough beauty options for women with mature skin. And because everything in life starts with a good foundation, I created Balance and Bright. Our unique fake foundation formula creates a beautifully fresh and natural coverage. And don't worry about matching your shade. Our foundation will adapt to your skin tone, so you can get the perfect match the first time. Learn more about Balance and Bright at laurageller.com.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
To the showdown now at the southern border between Texas and the federal government. The Lone Star State is refusing to grant federal agents full access to Shelby Park. It's a migrant hotspot in the border city of Eagle Pass. Texas Governor Greg Abbott promising he won't back down against President Biden. The House Homeland Security Committee releases 2 articles of impeachment against Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Matt Finn is live at Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, where this argument is taking place. Matt.
John, at the center of this showdown is this razor wire behind me. Texas has installed it and insists it is slowing down illegal immigration at this park, and it doesn't want the Biden administration back onto this property and removing that razor wire. The Biden administration argues that the United States government has some type of ownership over this land and it wants back in here. The latest development in this dispute, the Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton fired back a letter to a federal attorney demanding the Biden administration prove its claim that it has ownership over this park. Texas insists this is state land, and it has the constitutional right to seize this park and defend the border. At the same time, in Washington, the Senate is hammering out a bipartisan border bill. Details obtained by Fox News indicate the bill would not stop illegal immigration, rather pause it once the daily average of illegal encounters hits a certain number. The Texas Attorney General tells me he is not satisfied with that proposal. He only supports a bill that calls for zero tolerance with illegal immigration and thinks Republicans should not rubber stamp anything else.
Basically, we bail them out in the election coming. The voters, I do not think it like this. I think it's going to cost Biden the election. So why would the Republican Congress bail them out and bail them out in a way that causes great harm to the American population? I don't see one good reason to do this.
And the Texas State Attorney General, who was just speaking there, says that he would only support or endorse a bill that abides by the law, zero illegal immigration here along the southern border. The president says that if the Senate is serious about passing a bipartisan bill, that he would sign it, John.
All right, Matt Finn in Eagle Pass, Texas. Matt, thank you. And still to come on the Fox Report, an important meeting in Thailand designed to cool tensions between Washington and Beijing. But all the while, China is moving more military hardware toward Taiwan. Details on that next. Bob's Discount Furniture is doubling down on you with my Tuxedo Power Sofa. Zero random power recline, wireless charging, and two colors for just $9.99. But you can have a new year for less. There's only one thing to say. Oh my God.
With Card Gurus, you can start your financing from home. If only you could do things your way all the time. Maybe someday. Get it with Gurus.
We are often falsely taught that nutrition is complicated, and we need to take 20 different vitamins a day to stay healthy. It's not complicated. Mother Nature's done the hard part for us. All we have to do is get it into our body. We all need good nutrition, and we all need a healthy source of fiber. Less than 5% of Americans are getting enough fiber. Balance of Nature makes it easy. Balance of Nature's fiber and spice is made from whole ingredients, just like the fruits and veggies, and is formulated to the same high standard. It's the best fiber product on the market. I can take anything. Together, fruits and veggies, fiber and spice make the whole health system. When you get enough fiber and enough nutrition through whole spices and whole fruits and vegetables, your whole world will change.
Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice by using discount code BOOM.
Dale used to hide his smile. Now, it's switching time. He uses TheraBreath anti-cavity mouthwash for 24-hour cavity protection.
And it helps strengthen the nail. Not that you have any weaknesses.
Try TheraBreath mouthwash.
It's a better mouthwash.
Exposing the migrant crisis inside the documentary following the route from Ecuador to the U.S.
We decided to follow the trail ourselves.
On an exclusive primetime.
Oh, you keep popping up in my dreams. I have the most intense sex dreams with you in it.
Shit, please.
An area that is at the center of a dream documentary.
You're in people's minds when they sleep. I'm special, I guess.
Pain comes less desirable side effects.
We're not even the type of people that like attention.
Do you own that card that says loser?
Yes.
Alcoholics Anonymous. We're here to help. For more information, visit aa.org and download the meeting guide.
last 2 years that I've been on my own, it's been really challenging in order to make ends meet. United Way agency that I deal with for things like food, keeping the cost of food down, help with toiletries and other necessities that it gets always done with a smile. Thanks to United Way, seniors like myself live in grace and dignity.
While U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi this weekend, China sent several warplanes and Navy ships into the Taiwan Strait. Beijing claims the move is a response to U.S. provocation in the region. Stephanie Bennett has more from London.
John, China is increasing their military pressure on Taiwan after sending 6 warships and more than 30 jets towards the island. Tensions between Beijing and Taipei have remained high ever since Taiwan's presidential election earlier this month, after Lai Ching-te claimed the victory. Political campaign focused on pushing back against China's threats against the island. China's ruling Communist Party views Taiwan as part of its territory, despite having never controlled it, and has not ruled out the use of military force to try and reunify the island with the mainland. As China's military threats rise, Taiwan's law is now requesting all men between 18 to 36 participate in compulsory military service. This week, the first batch of new recruits began serving. And after 2 days of talks, the U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Thailand. They discussed the ongoing geopolitical insecurity, including attacks by the Houthi rebels in the Middle East. Sullivan also pressing him to use China's influence with Iran to ease tensions. Now, the pair also reportedly agreed to arrange a call between President Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Now, earlier this week, however, the Chinese government criticized the U.S. for causing what they call trouble and provocation after the U.S. Navy sailed its first warship, USS John Finn, through the Taiwan Strait. China accused the U.S. of abusing international law and says they should stop making trouble, something the U.S. Navy has denied. The U.S. says they are obligated under the Taiwan Relations Act to provide Taiwan with the military needs to defend itself, which is something China regards as interference with internal affairs. Now, although this was the USS John Finn's first time traveling through the controversial area along the Strait of Taiwan, U.S. ships and also jets routinely travel through the area. John?
Stephanie Bennett. Stephanie, thank you. And here are some other headlines from around the globe. In Ukraine, the Defense Ministry uncovered massive fraud in its purchases of weapons made for the war with Russia. It says officials conspired with workers at a Ukrainian arms firm to steal about $40 million earmarked for mortar shells. In the Koreas, South Korea's military says the North fired several cruise missiles off its east coast that flew over waters near a major North Korean military shipyard. In Finland, Alexander Stubb won the first round of the country's presidential election. He will take office if he wins a runoff next month. In Pakistan, police used tear gas at a pre-election rally supporting former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who was blocked from running in the race because of a past criminal conviction. This is France, where climate change activists hurled pumpkin soup at the Mona Lisa in the Louvre Museum. They were arrested. The iconic painting is covered by glass and was not damaged. New Zealand now, where the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series took place in Auckland today. Crowds gathered to watch brave athletes take death-defying plunges. And that is a look at some stories from around the globe. Much more ahead for you on the Fox Report, including a scary new take on Swan Lake. A man jumps into action to try to save a swan trapped in a frozen river. How this all turned out. Next.
Every day can be extraordinary with rich, creamy, delicious Fage total yogurt.
I will never again lose to my brother, decided Issa, because I've switched to consumer cellular, and now I get the same coverage he's got for half the cost. I'm the one who wins. Words when freedom calls, we're here to answer.
Cheers.
Any time of year is a bad time if you're an animal who's being abused or neglected. But winter can make the suffering even worse for these animals. Many who've been left outside in the cold.
The endless suffering, endless pain, just lack of hope. There is no shortage of cruelty out there.
This winter, please help by visiting our website, scanning the QR code, or calling this number, and signing up with your $19 monthly donation. Every new donor we get means we can rescue more animals from harm and give them the warmth of loving arms. With your support, they'll get emergency medical care, food, and shelter. We need 3,000 new donors in the next 30 days, so we can rescue the animals who are fighting to stay alive this winter. 63 cents a day is all it takes to save an animal's life.
It's really the support that comes in from people that care that really is the engine that keeps us going.
And because the situation is so urgent, we're asking you to join in the next 10 minutes. And if you do, we'll send you this free welcome kit with our member magazine, the photo of a rescued animal, and this Animal Champion t-shirt.
Catch you later.
This limited edition item won't last, so act now to get yours today. It's a season of great suffering for too many animals, and if there was ever a time to help, this is it. Please go online, call, or scan now.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
Man, how many backroom trips are you making each day? Try Super Beta Prostate Advanced, the #1 selling formula in its category. Made with Prostafend, a triple action blend to help reduce urges to urinate. Find it at Walmart or these retailers.
People diagnosed with mesothelioma have questions about treatment and medical bills. That's why we offer a free book about mesothelioma for over 10 years. Call 1-800-500-5202 or go to mesobook.com.
This is what it feels like to file with TaxSlayer. Confident you'll get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Ahead of today's NFC Championship football game between the Detroit Lions and San Francisco 49ers, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Michigan and former Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California have a friendly wager underway. Both of them are known for their love of chocolate, so if the Lions win, Pelosi says she will send Dingell's office Ghirardelli chocolates from San Francisco. Representative Dingell posted on X saying if the 49ers should win, she will send Representative Pelosi's office a variety of Michigan's own Sanders candy. Slightly warmer temperatures in the winter call for a little monkeying around. Take a look at these chimpanzees at the Maryland Zoo. They enjoyed snacking on some snow inside their habitat. The chimps had to get used to their wintry new environment. You know, it doesn't often snow where they are supposed to be, their native areas. Zookeepers say they went, yes, bananas. They quickly embraced the snow-covered wonderland. And it's a happy, happy hippo weekend. Last night we told you about miracle hippo Fiona, who was born prematurely in 2017. Not expected to survive, she beat the odds and made it to her 7th birthday to the delight of everyone at the Cincinnati Zoo. Tonight, a shout out to another hippo, Lulu, who is celebrating her 64th birthday at Florida's Homosassa Wildlife Park.
choose to make yourself comfortable.
What do you give a hippo for her birthday? Anything she wants. Happy birthday, Lulu. Officials rescued a swan stuck in a frozen river in Ukraine on Friday. One rescuer crawled onto the thin ice while connected to his colleague's boat with a rope. That man did fall into the water during the rescue, but eventually he recovered and returned to safety along with the beautiful bird. Congrats.
Let's save this before I do anything.
28th of 2024. I'm John Scott. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. The big weekend show is next.
Okay. Before I take this on, let's make sure there's nothing else that we need to do.
Along with Jason Chapin, Tommy Warren, and Joe Contra, and welcome to the big weekend show. The big story tonight. Articles of impeachment revealed against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
The border is closed, the border is secure. It is my testimony that the border is secure.
But you do think it's a crisis?
But Brett, it is a challenge.
Well, that insistence is just one reason the House argues Mayorkas is putting our national security at risk. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson is live to break down the details of the two articles of impeachment. Lucas.
Well, Lisa, a Republican member of the House Homeland Security Committee spoke on Fox and Friends earlier about those impeachment articles and that testimony you heard earlier from the DHS chief.
The articles are very simple. Article 1 says that there's a willful and systemic refusal to follow the law. That's the Immigration and Nationality Act. And Article 2 says that there's a breach of public trust, what you just heard. Those two are very simple, but they factually outline the refusal of Secretary Mayorkas to keep our country safe.
Now here's the text, Lisa. Alejandro N. Mayorkas knowingly made false statements to Congress that the border is secure, that the border is, quote, no less secure than it was previously, and that the border is, quote, closed, and that DHS has, quote, operational control of the border. The text continues. Throughout his tenure as Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro N. Mayorkas has repeatedly violated laws enacted by Congress regarding immigration and border security, in large part because of his unlawful conduct. Millions of aliens have illegally entered the United States on an annual basis, with many unlawfully remaining in the United States. His refusal to obey the law is not only an offense against the separation of powers in the Constitution of the United States, it also threatens our national security. Now here's the response from DHS to all this. It says, quote, this farce of an impeachment is a distraction from other vital national security priorities and the work Congress should be doing to actually fix our broken immigration laws. Many Republican congressmen say the southern border should be the top national security priority. Here's House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Mike McCall earlier on Fox News Sunday.
He knows better. This is not by accident, it's by design. And I call him the architect of destruction. 8 million encounters, 300 on the terror watch list, 200 million people dead now thanks to fentanyl poisoning, that this one man is responsible. I think that is a dereliction of duty.
Now, Lisa, cabinet members only been impeached one time in the history of the United States, and that happened nearly 150 years ago. Lisa?
We'll see if it happens again. Lucas, thank you. All right, Jason, so 2 articles we've got here. Refusal to follow the law, breach of public trust. Are these articles of impeachment justified? And then what's the process of this? What are the next steps?
I've read through the 20 pages of the articles of impeachment. They are justified. The Secretary has not enforced the current law. He's made excuses. He's made representations to Congress that are false, that are absolute total lies. You can look at all the numbers, and probably one of the best witnesses that you'll have will be somebody like a Brandon Judd who's in charge of the Border Patrol unit. Talk to the Border Patrol agents. They're not allowed to enforce the current law. Yeah, there were a lot of other things like the whipping incident with the horses that was totally false. But what about the tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors that were released into the country? He made representations about that. That's also in the article. It's talking about how that is a dereliction of duty. So he's lost the public trust. Congress, the United States Senate, has a co-equal vote in how they approve that person to be in that role. And as Edwin Meese has written in the past, Congress, the Senate, has a co-equal voice to get rid of that person. And I think he's earned this, unfortunately. It's not going to change unless they get rid of that person who is not enforcing the current law.
Well, they'll have a tough time in the Senate as well, obviously. All right, Tommy, let's listen to Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, a House Republican Conference Chair.
We are holding the Biden administration and Joe Biden accountable for the catastrophe at our southern border. Has been a willful and refusal to comply with the law and an abuse of power in the position as Secretary of Homeland Security. Every state is a border state, so the committee will mark up those articles of impeachment and work through the process to bring them to the floor. And I think what's most telling is Democrats are refusing to hold Joe Biden accountable for this border crisis that Joe Biden and his cabinet have created.
So you heard it right there. Democrats refusing to hold Joe Biden accountable.
Let's be fair, also some Republicans that are refusing to hold Joe Biden accountable. It feels like we're listening to this on a loop for the last 3 years. Republicans saying that the border is a problem, the border needs to be closed, the laws need to be enforced. Everybody is, giving us a dereliction of duty. We hear this over and over and over again like a broken record, and I love to hear Republicans say it, but it took this long, first of all, for this impeachment and the inquiry to even come up when it comes to Mayorkas. That's been promised for many, many months now. But I think the American people are also sick of Republicans in Congress talking about this. It doesn't seem like they actually have the will or the votes or the support within themselves to get it done. And then you look at Texas, which is actually out there, making a change, making a difference, holding the line. So I think more Americans are looking at Governor Greg Abbott and saying we need maybe 50 more Greg Abbotts out there, and then we could get something done. But I'm not going to hold my breath. It's great that we have this. It's nice to see some movement. Is it going to go across the finish line? I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of optimism there. A lot of Americans don't.
Well, Joe, Tommy was talking about how Republicans are even at odds on this issue as well. I want to play this clip of just that. I want to play this clip of Senator Rick Scott as well as Langford, who are on opposite sides of this. Let's take a listen.
This bill focuses on getting us to 0 illegal crossings a day. There's no amnesty. This is not about letting 5,000 people in a day. This is the most misunderstood section of this proposal.
We can change all these laws. There's laws now. Trump secured the border. Biden decided to open the border on the exact same laws. We don't need a new bill. We need something to force Biden to comply with the law.
So you've got Republicans at odds with each other.
Okay, he's taking a contract.
As well. And then you've got the media coming to the defense of Democrats on top of it. The Washington Post said this. It says House GOP unveiled Mayorkas impeachment articles despite lack of evidence, despite 20 pages of it laid out from Republicans. So, what's it going to take for the media to finally take this border crisis seriously?
Wow. I think you'll see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl before you see the media actually report on this honestly, right? 10,000 people a day in December crossed into this country illegally. 300,000 in a month. All right, so what more evidence do you need that when Mayorkas says the border is closed and then 300,000 people are coming in a month, more than 9 million since this president took office, it's not going to be reported on honestly. And then even if we go from 10,000 a day to 5,000 a day, you know what Biden and the media are going to do. We have cut down border crossings by more than 50%, just like they did with inflation. Alejandro Mayorkas is a useful or useless idiot. You can remove him, it doesn't matter, because another Mayorkas will just be put in there. As long as Joe Biden is president, and as long as wall construction is not restarted, and Remain in Mexico is not reinstated, and catch and release is not eliminated, this problem will continue forever. My question for Jason, real quick, if you don't mind. Do they have the numbers to remove Mayorkas, or is it just impeachment and then, oh well, we couldn't actually get him out of there?
Well, I am worried, talking to my former House colleagues, that they don't. The Republicans don't. They can only give up 3 votes or so. Right. They don't necessarily have the numbers to actually impeach him. Should they go through this process? Yes. Because the law says if somebody comes in between the ports of entry, they shall be detained and shall be deported. But that's the catch and release that's going on now is a violation of that law, and it's being done in mass. And again, I go back to the impeachment says, I think, 45,000 unaccompanied minors, but I heard other numbers as high as 85,000. Imagine that. These are kids, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, that are released and they don't know where they are. And why is there no outrage? If Donald Trump released 3 people into this country, that were unaccompanied minors. They're stuck in. You go to the Homeland Security website right now. Go type in, Homeland Security and go to their website. They talk about it's Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Oh, they're the most complicit people in human trafficking that there is right now because they are literally taking the work of the cartels and getting these poor young women and boys to who knows what. And you talk to the Border Patrol, the thousands of people that are raped coming across that border. Alejandro Mayorkas is in charge of it, and he's not doing his job, and he needs to be removed.
He's not doing his job, and then you have Republicans in the Senate trying, like Langford, which we just heard from, trying to codify 5,000 illegal immigrants per day, which goes to show what hope is there if this even passes the House, the impeachment, and gets to the Senate. We have an election coming up, though, so Republicans who are unhappy with their representation, immigration should be the #1 issue. Remember that. We have the power.
Well, polling is showing that it's becoming that. So, all right, well, a big hour still ahead on the Big Weekend Show. A Fox News alert, President Biden's promise after the deaths of U.S. soldiers in the Middle East. Plus,
the world needs an equality to youth, not a time of life, a state of mind, a quality of imagination. That's Joe Biden.
Gavin Newsom tries putting a pep in the aging president's step. And a cause for celebration, the media is touting divorce clubs. Is that the right message for kids?
At Consumer Cellular, our customer service team is based here in America.
America?
America.
God shed his grace on thee, and round thy good with promise from sea to shining sea.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Menopause. Got your attention? It's more than hot flashes and mood swings. Your metabolism slows down, and you start experiencing hormonal weight gain. And oh, trust me, I know from experience how difficult it can be to lose that weight, especially around your middle. That's why there's Complete 50 from Nutrisystem, a weight loss plan designed just for us that can improve our quality of life during the menopause years and beyond.
Lose weight with Complete 50. Shown in a study to reduce harmful belly fat by 8% in your first month.
Complete 50 is designed so you have more calories and carbs early in the day to get the results you want.
Get fully prepared meals, including hearty inspirations that control your appetite for up to 5 hours.
You can lose weight and improve symptoms of menopause. Feel the difference. Complete 50.
Order now and get $30 off plus free shipping with promo code FREE.
My name is Bruce. I played the end. I'm an actor, and I played 4 hours a night, trying to bring the best out of the crowd. There's 1,000 people that plan their evening around me, and that's just.
Let's save this just in case.
I've been taking bouts and nature supplements for over 2 years. Feel better. It's amazing.
Happy New Year. Get 35% off plus approved vibrant spices by using this code Fox News.
Addressing our nation's top issues, Ted Cruz weighs in on Biden's policy blunders. Plus, Byron Donalds details potential legislative solutions. Tonight on Mike, Liberty, and the Men.
Your role is to turn these children into spectacles.
Not survivors.
Coordinates received.
Submission confirmed.
Just
Moving out.
destruction.
Well, what do we have here?
It's just snow.
Reporting.
Alcoholics Anonymous. We're here to help. For more information, visit aa.org and download the meeting guide.
What? Can I take your order?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess.
decide on.
Missed.
Right? Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration.
Good mix in here.
Canada.
Receiving you.
And we're back with a Fox News alert. 3 U.S. service members killed, at least 2 dozen hurt in a drone attack on a base in Jordan. That base is sitting close to the border with Syria, and President Biden says an Iranian militant group is responsible. Remember, this was the president's message for anyone who attacked U.S. forces after the Hamas terror attack on Israel back in October.
Any country, any organization, anyone thinking of taking advantage of this situation. I have one word: don't.
Commencing Alpha Strike.
150 attacks on U.S. forces have happened since then. This was the president's promise today.
Last night, police lost that's the total size of those falls.
Yes, Commander.
Fox News correspondent Lee East has an update from Battletech.
Yeah, Joe, that's right. We are following a massive escalation out of the Middle East, where a drone attack targeted an outpost along the border between Jordan and Syria, killing 3 American forces and injuring more than 24 others. We know this took place last night and was carried out by an Iran-backed militia group in either Iraq or Syria. Tonight, the Biden administration saying there will be a response, and President Biden releasing a statement saying, quote, "We know it was carried out by radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. We will hold all those responsible to account at a time and in a manner of our choosing." The entire region bracing for the possibility of a broader conflict. There have been more than 159 attacks against U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria since mid-October, as the war between Israel and Hamas was ramping up after the October 7th massacre. Tonight, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin also releasing a statement saying, quote, "I'm outraged and deeply saddened. The President and I will not tolerate attacks on American forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our troops, and our interests." Today on Fox News, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg talking about the situation and what former President Trump had to say back in 2020 when the Americans took out top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Take a listen.
Back to what President Trump said in his State of the Union in January of 2020, when he said very clearly, if you attack an American, your life is full. We just had some Americans killed. And frankly, anybody who didn't see this coming in national security is a fool. We knew it was going to happen with the amount of attacks that have been occurring, but we were just dodging the bullet.
America's closest ally in the Middle East, Israel, is on high alert tonight, understanding that if there is an American response directly against the Iranians, Iran could choose to use one of their largest proxies, Hezbollah, to fire back against America's top ally in the region. Joe.
Trey, thank you. Let's get reaction from Senator Senator Roberts, Republican, who had this statement, quote, "Joe Biden emboldened Iran for years. The only answer to these attacks must be devastating military retaliation against Iran's terrorist forces. Anything less would confirm Joe Biden as a coward, unworthy of being commander-in-chief." Jason Chapins, your reaction.
This should not be a proportional response. It should be disproportional. It should be
Excellent. That didn't take long. I thought it was going to be a major chain.
100+ attacks. I think the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States need to explain to the American people why we're there and why are our troops there if they can't defend themselves. Because not only do we have 34 injured and 3 dead, but this is going to continue, and the president has shown weakness time and time again. This is an extension of what President Obama was doing. Appeasement, enriching Iran. You need to take it out and give them that message. When Donald Trump did that, the world was safe. When Joe Biden's been the president, extending what Barack Obama did, the world's not a safe place. And those poor families, praying for them, God bless them, and thank them for their service.
2 U.S. Navy SEALs also lost their lives earlier this week as well. That should be noted. Meantime, Gavin Newsom bringing back the old defense for those concerned about President Biden's age. Give a listen.
I'm an old-fashioned guy.
You know, I think Bobby Kennedy said it best, but the world needs are the qualities of youth, not a time of life, a state of mind, a quality of imagination. That's Joe Biden. Okay, so how is Biden going to appeal to young voters? Bring in the influencers. Now, a super PAC is paying more than 150 Instagram and TikTok influencers $1 million to flood feeds with pro-Biden messaging. But is that going to work? So, Lisa Booth, they're going to bring in influencers using TikTok, which at last check is a Chinese spy app. Interesting.
Well, you know, 1 in 5 voters check TikTok daily, and that number increases with younger voters. Well, there's something really, really interesting happening right now with the youth vote. So Joe Biden won, according to exit polling, young voters by double digits in 2020. And now if you look at polling, and it's not just outlier polling, right? This is a consistent trend. Donald Trump is winning, or at least gaining, by, you know, Joe Biden's hemorrhaging the youth vote. I mean, you can go back a few months ago, New York Times did a battleground state poll showing that Joe Biden was just up by 1. You can go to more recent polling, like USA Today, another New York Times poll, showing Trump winning the youth vote as well. And I had Robert Capalli with the Trafalgar Group recently in my podcast. I asked him about this, and he said that young voters are going to surprise us this election cycle. And he thought because they were looking at alternative means of media, right, like podcasts, they're going against traditional media, so they're learning different things, getting different information. And then also, if you look at polling, there is a gender divide with younger voters as well, with women, you know, being more liberal, and then men trending more moderate and conservative. So look out for young voters. Could surprise us if these trends continue.
Tommy, do you think that young voters going to Trump, or at least staying home and not voting for Biden, is that a mirage, or is that a very real thing?
Here's the problem. We're assuming that Joe Biden is going to be the nominee. So this is where I don't like the overconfidence. I wish I could have it, but I don't. Yes, I don't think Joe Biden will do as well with young voters because Joe Biden's age, and I think that they are a lot of young people disgruntled with Joe. But if you take Joe out of the equation and you just talk about Roe v. Wade, student loan forgiveness, and everything free, that the Democrat agenda promises them a heavy focus on climate change, young people will go out and vote for that. No matter how many influencers on the right that you try to cultivate, I wish this were an easy solution. Trump is going to win the young vote, but you're assuming Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. I think we better be careful.
Jason Chaffetz, you have a great op-ed on FoxNews.com, on the most read, according to my people, op-ed we've seen on there in some time. And you talk about how Republicans are losing this battle as far as getting the vote out, that Democrats have an advantage that Republicans can't seem to figure out in terms of turning people out, even when the polls look like Donald Trump, if he is the nominee, and odds-on favorite, obviously, overwhelmingly to be the nominee, right now show that he will probably win the presidency, but
I worry about where's the Republican response. They're going to
Let's do this one.
TikTok and other ways to communicate, but what are the Republicans going to do? This is the big question.
Interesting. Straight ahead. Great discussion, by the way, everyone. New exclusive details about the Kansas City Chiefs fan whose friends, we should say, outside of his house. Plus, late-night comedy king Jay Leno is swearing off jokes about politics, but the impact of that promise is no laughing matter. That's next.
Let's do this.
You'll be saying, wow, don't you really want to know? Hey there, I'm Dennis Miller. See my new 3-part series, The Infomercials That Sold Us.
Movie's fun.
Time when infomercials ruled the airwaves. You'll also get interviews with all of these stars. But first, you've got to sign up for Fox Nation. Operators, no, they aren't standing by. What is this, 1995? Don't miss the infomercials that sold us. Subscribe to Fox Nation today.
My father founded St. Jude Children's Research Hospital because he believed no child should die in the dawn of life. In 1984, a patient named Stacy arrived, and it began her family's touching story.
I missed a good Mo.
It's just hard. Stacy passed on Christmas Day of 1986. There is no pain like losing a child, but St. Jude gave us more years to love on her each day.
You can join the battle to save lives. For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need now and in the future.
I remember as a child
walking the halls of St. Jude and watching my sister fight for her life. We never imagined that we would come back. And then my son, Charlie, was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma.
I'm thinking we already had a catastrophic disease in our family. Not my grandson, too.
St. Jude has helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate from 20% when it opened to 80% today. Join with your credit or debit card.
Okay, let's save this.
And we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you can proudly wear to show your support.
For anybody that would give. The money is going towards research, and you are the reason my child is here today. I was declared this will be 2 years cancer-free, but there's thousands and
And we'll see you guys next time for sure, alright? Peace out.
How many lives
Long session.
just so many.
Charlie's progress warms my heart. But memories of little angels like Stacy are why we need your help. Please become a St. Jude Partner at Hope right now.